We're doing poem. We're doing poetry today of celebration of the season. And I have plenty, but if someone has a poem they would like to share that is a celebrational poem, just raise your hand. I think it went out on the email list a couple days ago, but I'm not sure if everybody saw it. So yeah, so I'll start since you didn't get to see it, but I just want to say, Tina, how much I enjoyed your cat song that you did. It was hilarious. It was so funny. I did not know you could do comedy. That takes some real.
That's what I specialize in.
I did not know that.
Tina is a huge comic.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Yeah. And did you enjoy S.J. Ursry's song about how Baba doesn't like anybody but her? That was so funny. It was hilarious. And she sang it totally seriously, like 100% seriously.
I like your song, Tracy, your poem. I felt like I was in the Beat Generation.
Oh.
Bongo drums.
I was 4 during the Beat Generation, but I'm glad you thought that.
No, it was very evocative.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I might have to leave because I'm expecting a phone call from someone.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so I'll start. And if somebody has a poem of celebration that comes to mind while we're sitting here, then just, raise your hand and let us know and we'll pass it over to you. So I'm going to start with my very favorite, Mary Oliver, who's always, all of her poetry is about celebration. I don't care what she's talking about. It's about celebration, and how she does that really makes me crazy that I can't do that. And must have been a very happy person. So Diane is now in possession of a Mary Oliver book, which she's holding up. My favorite Mary Oliver book. And I photographed these out of her her book, since I didn't bring enough books with me for this. But it's so nice. It's a really nice trick to photograph some poems that you love and just have them in your iPhone. Like, I'm invited to a party tomorrow, an 80-year-old woman who loves poetry. So I'm going to read her some Mary Oliver out of my poem on my phone. It's really nice to have them there. So this one is called The Ponds. Every year, welcome everybody, by the way, and Jay Baba. Every year the lilies are so perfect, I can hardly believe they're lapped light, crowding the black midsummer ponds. Nobody could count all of them. The muskrats swimming among the pads and the grasses can reach out their muscular arm and touch only so many. They are that rife and wild. But what in this world is perfect? I bend closer and see how this one is clearly lopsided, and that one wears an orange blight, and this one a glossy cheek, half nibbled away, and that one is a slumped purse full of its own unstoppable decay. Still, what I want in my life is to be willing to be dazzled, to cast aside the weight of facts, and maybe even to float a little above this difficult world. I want to believe that I am looking into the white fire of a great mystery. I want to believe that the imperfections are nothing, that the light is everything, that it is more than the sum of each flawed blossom rising and fading, and I do. I know, right? So
yeah, sweet.
I know some people hate these kind of stories and some people love them, so I'll just venture out and tell you the story anyway. I was in Mira's room, and Mira, as she is apt to do when you are in the guest house, spent a little
name dropper.
Spent a little time with me, and And she basically said, I was looking in the mirror, and I usually see my imperfections, and she basically said something to the effect of, really see yourself as beautiful, not meaning the physical beauty, but the whole beauty, the whole inner outer beauty. Really see yourself as beauty, because that's really what is true. And it just felt so very, very, very true what she said. And I was so grateful for that. And it's really helped me to put aside my very active judgment and assessment of things. And it's made me feel a lot happier.
Sweet
That's
story.
beautiful.
Yeah.
How long were you in the guest house?
I was there for a week.
Nice.
Yeah. I've decided I'm going back soon to spend more time. I've missed it during COVID.
Mm.
So here's another lovely Mary Oliver poem. It's called Roses, Late Summer. What happens to the leaves after they turn red and golden and fall away? What happens to the singing birds when they can't sing any longer? What happens to their quick wings? Do you think there is any personal heaven for any of us? Do you think anyone the other side of that darkness will call to us, meaning us? Beyond the trees, the foxes keep teaching their children to live in the valley. So they never seem to vanish. They are always there in the blossom of light that stands up every morning in the dark sky. And over one more set of hills along the sea, the last roses have spread their blossoms of sweetness and are giving it back to the world. If I had another life, I would want to spend it all on some unstinting happiness. I would be a fox or a tree full of waving branches. I wouldn't mind being a rose in a field full of roses. Fear has not yet occurred to them, nor ambition. Reason they have not yet thought of. Neither do they ask how long they must be roses, and then what, or any other foolish question.
Right on.
Right? I know. How does she do it?
Yes, all those things are foolish.
Yes.
All those concerns.
Yeah. This one is called White Flowers, and then we're going to shift over to another poet. Last night in the fields, I lay down in the darkness to think about death, but instead I fell asleep. As if in a vast and sloping room filled with those white flowers that open all summer, sticky and untidy in the warm fields. When I woke, the morning light was just slipping in front of the stars, and I was covered with blossoms. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if my body went diving down under the sugary vines in some sleep-sharpened affinity with the depths, or whether that green energy rose like a wave and curled over me, claiming me in its husky arms. I pushed them away, but I didn't rise. Never in my life had I felt so plush or so slippery or so resplendently empty. Never in my life had I felt myself so near that porous line where my own body was done with and the roots and the stems and the flowers began.
Hmm.
Could you read that again?
Ooh.
Yeah, especially in the first part, there was some question I had. I didn't understand what she meant.
Okay, yes. Let me get back to it. Mary Oliver loved Rumi and was very good friends with Coleman Barks. And once I went to hear her read, and she wouldn't start the reading. And I thought, wow, what are we waiting for? And finally, all of a sudden, Coleman Barks comes 25 minutes late and she starts it. And I realized she was waiting for him. Last night in the fields, I lay down in the darkness to think about death, but instead I fell asleep, as if in a vast and sloping room filled with those white flowers that open all summer, sticky and untidy in the warm fields. When I woke, the morning light was just slipping in front of the stars, and I was covered with blossoms. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if my body went diving down under the sugary vines in some sleep-sharpened affinity with the depths, or whether that green energy rose like a wave and curled over me, claiming me in its husky arms. I pushed them away, but I did not rise. Never in my life had I felt so plush or so slippery or so resplendently empty.
Now that's what I think I don't understand that.
Oh, I'll finish and then let's go back to it.
Yeah.
Never in my life had I felt so near that porous line
Hmm.
where my own body was done with, and the roots and the stems and the flowers began.
Mm. Yeah.
Can you say a little bit more, Elaine, about?
Well, I just had my impression of her description of all of that is that she was feeling not empty, but fulfilled or gratified in some or something had gone full circle for her.
Yeah.
So then she says she felt empty. So I'm slightly confused.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the key word in that sentence would be resplendently empty. And my understanding of that is that she felt that kind of welcoming emptiness that we feel when we are perfectly happy and we're perfectly content and there's nothing that we need, and we sort of experience the world as being, utterly full and complete. And there's a certain emptiness that can happen in that because there's no need for anything else. There's no need to be anything else or do anything else or say anything else or.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
The Zen emptiness. Okay.
Yes. The Zen
Yes.
emptiness.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I understand.
Yeah. I think of it as the same way I think of Baba putting the mandali through the deprivations of the body so that they could come closer to the spirit.
Mm-hmm. Plus, Baba's really good, as we know, at burning off karma.
Yes, and it reminds me too of when I was visiting with a Hopi elder, and she seemed very happy, and the house was filled with children and grandchildren, and she had no electricity or she had no flooring. It was just dirt, and her water was kept in a 50-gallon stainless steel trash can that was clean. And I said, why don't you want electricity in your house? And she was cooking, and the cooking was great, and why don't you want a floor and water? And she said, well, we just feel like if we have too much, then we forget to be grateful to God, and we just want to be grateful. And
Wonderful.
It had such.
I happen to love dirt floors, so I'm totally with her.
Yes, right.
I do. I love sitting on dirt floor. I love sitting in the dirt.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
I can't remember who said this, but I think it was Terry. Diane, remind me if it was Terry, but we were talking about loneliness, and I think Terry said, I know a lot of rich people, and some of the richest people I know are some of the loneliest people I know. And that really hit me hard when she said that.
And I used to own, it was her.
Yeah.
It was her. And I used to own a dating service, and some of the most attractive people are the most insecure.
Yeah. That's really something to think about. Hence Mira's comment to me, see yourself as beautiful, because it's really the truth of the matter.
Yes.
Has anyone thought of a poem they might like to share that's celebrational?
I'm just sort of getting my house back after Christmas. I just today put away the last of the decorations, the window lights. I always put, a light in every window. Those electric lights that come on when it gets dark automatically. Yeah.
Those
So
are
I
so
just put
lovely.
those away today.
Yeah.
So I don't have that perspective right now.
Mm-hmm. No
I
problem.
didn't-
Just wanted to
I
make sure. Oh, go ahead, Diana.
I didn't know that what the theme was going to be tonight. I guess I didn't get that email, but about a week ago, in another poetry Zoom session, the theme was poems of the season.
Wait, you're going to other poetry Zoom sessions?
Oh, here on Baba Zoom. There's once a month.
I'm
She's
telling,
cheating on you.
I'm telling
She's
them.
cheating on you.
Telling
But I
them.
come to yours all the time. I open the
Which one is your favorite is what I want to know. I'm
This is being recorded.
oh, look, she's blushing. I love it. I'm
Okay,
sorry, Diana, go ahead.
So actually, I brought two, and one of them, I'd like to read both, and if you'd like to hear them.
Yes.
One of them is very short. It's by, which I'll read first. It's by Wendell Berry, and it's called To Know the Dark. And are you nodding because you know it, or you're?
I know Wendell Berry, and I'm nodding because I'm so happy you're reading something from him.
You are happy or not happy?
I am happy.
Okay, and before I read it, I just want to say, because, usually we think of this as the season of light, but he's writing about the dark. And I think he's writing about the gifts that we might find in the dark. It's very short. To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go dark, go without sight, and find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings.
Lovely.
You read it again.
To go in the dark with a light is to know the light. To know the dark, go without sight, and find that the dark too blooms and sings and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings.
Wow. Wonderful imagery.
Wendell Berry is a living American poet who lives in Kentucky, and he's a farmer, and he went to Harvard, and he's been writing poetry for years and years and years, and really loves to tie them into nature.
I think our Ted Judson, the architect of Maribod, knows him. I think he knows Wendell Berry. I'll have to ask him if he does.
Yeah.
So would you like the other poem now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
I don't know if you were planning on reading it later. It's by Mary Oliver.
Oh.
Did you have enough? Okay. This is called White Eyes. In winter, all the singing is in the tops of the trees where the wind bird with its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings as long as he stays awake. But his big round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing, while the clouds which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below like stars or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow.
Mm,
Oh, whoa,
so good.
so much to think about.
Was that
Mm.
Mary Oliver, did you say? Do you mind reading her again, please?
Okay. It's called White Eyes. In winter, all the singing is in the tops of the trees where the wind bird with its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings as long as he stays awake. But his big round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing, while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below like stars, or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow.
Mm. Lovely. Lovely.
Mhm,
Thank you.
mhm. Yeah, thank you. I think some of you were here when I said this, but some of you weren't. There's a fantastic, if you're interested, interview with Mary Oliver. She was very reclusive and she didn't give many interviews, but Krista Tippett, who has a podcast called On Being, got to interview her for an hour and a half, and it is absolutely incredible. And it was just a few years before she passed. I think you all would love it if you like Mary Oliver. It's really quite telling about her personality. And I always sort of envisioned someone like Mary Oliver as being as close to perfect as they get, but she chain smokes, and she was chain smoking during that entire interview after she'd been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And I thought, somehow it makes me happy to know that, even people that I admire so much as Mary Oliver are have their own vices that I don't anticipate that they have.
I'd like to ask Diana a quick question. That background that you're using of that house in the hills, is that in India or Portofino? Yes, I was just there in November. And do you think, you look up that it looks like that hill and the foliage, all the hills around that little tiny harbor of Portofino have these houses tucked away. You see the tops of them. Now, is that supposedly a picture of Alta Chiara? Really? Because I tried to find it just visually, and
You can't. They make
No.
it that way.
yeah.
We
Well,
were there in 2017.
uh-huh. Yeah, it's the growth. I would love to know where this house is, because, I didn't have enough time to walk around Portofino that much.
Yeah, it's
Couple of days.
above, it's high up. You're
Yeah,
down low in Portofino in the port,
I know.
where the boats and the restaurants and there are
Yeah,
shops
no, I
there.
walked up to that promontory where there's I'm sorry, this is not poetry. Maybe we should discuss this some other time.
Yeah.
Okay,
What do you think, Tracy?
If you can make it short, I don't mind talking about it.
Okay, well, I went there, of course, because I was hoping to see the house, but I couldn't see it from that very high promontory that's where there's a little there's a church up there, and there's this long paved road paved with natural stones up to that church. And even from up there, I couldn't see anything that looked like that.
Well, that's because you didn't borrow a ladder like our friend Seppi did. And she climbed a ladder and
Mhm.
we have a picture and she swears that it's
It's
it.
not her.
But yeah.
We went on private property. I can't believe what we did.
And now it's
So-
all been recorded. But they try and guise it.
Yeah, they don't want you going there.
It's owned by a Russian family now, I hear.
Mm,
Okay.
it's so beautiful.
But the woods covered every house that I could see.
Mm,
That
Do you know Merrick Prasad? He has pictures. He went a
Okay.
while ago, so he's like in the same picture in the driveway that Baba was.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
you can talk to him about it because he went up and really hung out.
Okay,
he-
good.
he would know the location.
Okay. All right, good. All right, that's all. I'm sorry. I just had to ask because it looked like
yeah,
it looked like Portofino, definitely.
so beautiful.
But
It'll-
I could not see a house like that, even from the highest hill around.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just covered by, overgrowth now. Okay.
Interestingly enough, the next poem is called Every Tree.
Thank you.
I know.
What a segue.
I know. And this is a Rumi poem. Every tree, every growing thing, as it grows, says this truth: you harvest what you sow. With life as short as a half-taken breath, do not plant anything but love. The value of a human being can be measured by what he or she most deeply wants. Be free of possessing things. Sit at an empty table. Be pleased with water, the taste of being home. People travel the world looking for the friend, but that one is always at home. Jesus moves quickly to Mary. A donkey stops to smell the urine of another donkey. There are simple reasons for what happens. You will not stay clear if you sit for long with the one who pours the wine. Someone with a cup of honey in his hand rarely has a sour face. If someone says a eulogy, there must be a funeral nearby. A rose opens because she is the fragrance she loves. We speak poems, and the lovers down the centuries will keep saying them. The cloth God weaves does not wear out.
Mm, mm.
I'm going to read that again because that was a lot to take in, I think.
Yes, please do. It's yummy though. It's yummy.
Every tree, every growing thing as it grows says this truth: you harvest what you sow. With life as short as a half-taken breath, do not plant anything but love. The value of a human being can be measured by what he or she most deeply wants. Be free of possessing things. Sit at an empty table. Be pleased with water, the taste of being home. People travel the world looking for the friend, but that one is always at home. Jesus moves quickly to Mary. A donkey stops to smell the urine of another donkey. There are simple reasons for what happens. You will not stay clear if you sit for long with the one who pours the wine. Someone with a cup of honey in his hand rarely has a sour face. If someone says a eulogy, there must be a funeral nearby. A rose opens because she is the fragrance she loves. We speak poems, and lovers down the centuries will keep saying them. The cloth God weaves does not wear out.
Mm.
I know that's a lot to take in, but and maybe it's obvious, but just to say, that I feel like he's really pointing to the beauty of emptiness and the beauty of simplicity, and letting things just be what they are. And that simplicity sort of shows us sometimes what those things are when we are confused by them. And it can be something as powerful as Jesus and Mary, or something as simple as a donkey smelling another donkey. But that all of them have their value, and some of them last longer than others. Some of them are part of the eternal and some of them are not. Did you want to
I
say
have a
something,
poem.
Diane?
I have a poem. I do. I do.
You have a poem. Yay.
I do. It's a Rainer Maria Rilke. Sorry, that's where my speech problem is in with the R's. I hope this is enough celebration. It's his one called My Life. My whole life is mine, but whoever says so will deprive me, for it is infinite. The ripple of water, the shade of the sky are mine. It is still the same, my life. No desire opens me. I am full. I never close myself with refusal in the rhythm of my daily soul. I do not desire, I am moved. By being moved, I exert my empire, making the dreams of night real. Into my body at the bottom of the water, I attract the beyonds of mirrors.
Can you read
that
that last
again?
line again? I attract what?
I attract the beyonds of mirrors.
The beyond. Okay, the beyond.
Terry asked me to read it again. Is it okay?
Mhm.
Yes.
My life, my whole life is mine, but whoever says so will deprive me, for it is infinite. The ripple of water, the shade of the sky are mine. It is still the same, my life. No desire opens me. I am full. I never close myself with refusal in the rhythm of my daily soul. I do not desire, I am moved. By being moved, I exert my empire, making the dreams of night real. Into my body at the bottom of the water, I attract the beyonds of mirrors. Jai Baba.
Baba. Rilke was famous for his book called Letters to a Young Poet. There were actually letters that a young person wrote to him to ask him how to be a poet and how to be a writer. And he was from Austria, the Austria-German area, which was at that time called Bohemia. Died in 1875. Fabulous, Rilke. I've always just thought Rilke was just so fabulous.
Yeah. I once found a copy of Rilke in German, and I bought it for my son who lived in Germany for a couple of years and gave it to him for Christmas years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, but I never got him to read me his translations.
When we were at the potluck at the circle across from the center, I was telling Mahermush how moved I was at the center one day when a elderly Iranian man came and said he wanted to read Hafez for us in Farsi, and we were having lunch. It was Jeff Wolverton and a few of us, and I thought, oh, that's nice. You know, I don't know what I expected, and I just started weeping, and we started reading Hafez in Farsi because I could not understand a word of it. And it's so interesting how sometimes
Beautiful.
the energy
Yes.
of a writer can come through, even when
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It sometimes doesn't matter.
yeah,
I've had that experience too.
yeah,
Something happens. I don't know.
something happens.
Yeah, the mind stops working. It just flows through.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, this is another Rumi poem. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. This is called Why Am I So Blessed? You keep coming out of my chest into invisibility, singing songs and telling tangled stories. With one breath, a universe whirls into being. You wash the world. But why am I so blessed with a Joseph and a Job on every side whose houses have been broken into and their sweet smelling linens stolen? Now you lead a procession into the cemetery as though it is a garden. You shout, Rise and dance, and they do. The ancient dead, the newly dead, so happy to be out in the air again. The graveyard looks like a marketplace on holiday. I'm not saying these things to appear visionary and spiritual. I have seen this happen in ways I cannot express. Always test a high-sounding remark if someone claims, I have left all that. See if his shirt is torn in the back. Tell the word men to quit talking and listen to the grief a lover feels. Be relentless in your looking because you are the one you seek. I'll read that again because Remy has a way of fitting a lot of thoughts into one poem. You keep coming out of my chest into visibility, singing songs and telling tangled stories. With one breath, a universe whirls into being. You wash the world. You tighten the string around my finger. But why am I so blessed with a Joseph and a Job on every side whose houses have been broken into and their sweet smelling linens stolen? Now you lead a procession into the cemetery as though it is a garden. You shout, rise and dance, and they do. The ancient dead, the newly dead, so happy to be out in the air again. The graveyard looks like a marketplace on holiday. I am not saying these things to appear visionary and spiritual. I have seen this happen in ways I cannot express. Always test a high-sounding remark. If someone claims, I have left all that, see if his shirt is torn in the back. Tell the word men to quit talking and listen to the grief a lover feels. Be relentless in your looking because you are the one you seek.
When Rumi talks about lovers, is he talking about God lovers?
You know, that's a really good question. I guess I think of the answer to that question the same way I think of what Mara said to me, you know, see the beauty. She didn't say see the beauty in the inside and the outside. She just said see the beauty. But somehow I felt like she meant see the beauty of the inside and the outside. So the thing that I have been so uplifted and taught by in Sufi poetry, like Rumi and Hafez, is that they don't try to distinguish between the spiritual and the physical. They try to sort of weave them together a little bit so that one teaches us about the other. And I think that's pretty profound. For me, that was profound to understand that that was happening in that poetry.
Yeah.
That blouse is too big on me.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought I got rid of it. And my hair is really terrible.
Any other thoughts or questions or comments? Wow, that is so interesting. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Hello, Ralph.
Oh yeah, hello. If someone's here, I think Ralph.
Thank you, Tracey. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Ralph.
We're reading poems about celebration. If you have one you would like to read, please just let us know. We'd be happy to make space for you to do that. So I'll carry on.
I discovered y'all were, what do you say, celebrating just at the last moment. And I'm glad I was able to pop in.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got 15 more minutes of celebrating the new year, life in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more Rumi poem. This one is called You Never Left. And I know Rumi can be really hard to track. And I always say to people who, you know, are struggling to follow poetry, like just let the head go and just follow the feeling quality, because it somehow will take you somewhere. But you know, Rumi changes subjects about 5 times in every poem, and that can be a little tricky.
Mhm.
Why he does that, I don't know, but the Lord of beauty enters the soul as a man walks into an orchard in spring. Come into me that way again. Please light the lamp of my eye and cure my sadness. Though you never left, come and sit down here with me. Like a fresh idea in an artist's mind, you fashion things before they come into being. You sweep the floor of the man who keeps the broom. When you brush a form clean, it becomes what it truly is. You guard your silence perfectly, like a water bag that does not leak. You live where love lives because your heart was strong enough to take you there. So here are two more poems, and probably will be all the time we have. Hopefully someone's got another poem because that's all I have pulled out for us. But this one is called I Am.
Is
And
this also Rumi?
it's Tracey.
Oh, good.
It's a Tracey poem.
Oh, good.
And sometimes I've confused the two.
Aw,
You know that.
my new best friend.
Checks in the mail.
Thank you. I am a gatekeeper. I am an entrance point. I am a huge water-filled urn holding and reflecting power back into the world. I am the gray blue mountains joyfully sitting among members of the landscape. I am a spring green tendril feeling with delight the roots beneath me. I am a lightning rod anchoring wildness from the summer sky. I remember all of this now like a gift, like visiting an ancient stone cairn and remembering helping to build it, like weeping into my hands and knowing that I have found my place in the great circle of things.
Bravo.
Thank you. This is one I wrote when I was staying at the center, and I was thinking about Baba's saying, "Don't worry, be happy," which when I initially heard that, I didn't understand it and thought it was kind of a meme in words. And then one day it occurred to me that it was 100% true. And I was, I think, in my mid 40s before I realized it was true. So I felt like I needed to sort of start over with something. You know, I realized I could suffer and be happy at the same time. That was a big epiphany. So this one's called Ancient Ribbons. I do not know how to begin. I do not know how to earn a closeness with you, God. I feel your presence at my heels where my feet collide with the earth. I hear your breath mix with mine as my mouth learns to form words and sing. But this conflict I see in man, this relentless gallop we find ourselves in, moving in the confines of a dry, lifeless corral. Somehow, my feet and mine have known all along the path that leads to your door. Somewhere, the hooves of wild happiness, groomed and at attention, have been ready all along to take us there. If only we would see them in the open fields and, like ancient ribbons tied to a tail, follow.
Wow, that is,
Thank you.
I'd like to record that. Would you mind reading it again?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Make sure I've got my recorder. This thing's kind of finicky. Cranked up here. So that's a camera. Wow.
I'll record it too.
Ralph, we're recording right now, so this is going to be
Oh, available. Oh, excellent.
It's going to be available.
Yeah.
Would be
But
nice
I-
to hear it again, how it repeated.
Sure.
If it-
Sure, I'm happy to do it again, and either of you are welcome to record it. And yeah, I do not know. Are you ready?
No,
Okay, you just tell us when you're ready.
what am I doing? Oh,
I-
God. Okay, hold on.
Okay, I do a little ceremony on New Year's, every New Year's, and I ask for what energy wants to grow up in me. And I have found that I need to like really listen to what that is and not decide with my head. And so I knew what I wanted it to be this year. I wanted it to be love, but I worked on love last year and it was profound for me. And I wanted to do it again because I felt like I entered into my last year working on love as a remedial student of that subject. And I needed to have a refresher course right away. So I knew Baba was going to weigh in on this, and I was like, I just want you to know, just like, in case you're interested, I'd really like to do love again. And so I kept narrowing the words down of what seemed to want to come. And really at the last minute, I just had to really trust, because usually it comes to me several days before New Year's, but this time it was New Year's Eve and it had not come. And I thought, I'm just going to really trust this and just wait and for it to come. And then I was sitting in meditation New Year's Day during the arti, actually, in the barn. And the word flow came to me. And I thought, that's brilliant, because flow encompasses so many things. And if you're really in flow, you really are connected to love. And for me, to be in real flow means to be really connected to love. And because you have to be intuitive, you have to like allow things to happen, but you have to be aware of the big picture. There are just so many things that have to happen for real flow to happen. So I was so grateful that Baba weighed in and was like, here, your bird that you've been waiting for. Here it is. I'm very grateful. Ralph, how's it coming?
Good, we're on, we're.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So
very
it's called Ancient Ribbons.
Oh, okay. You just tell us when you're ready.
I do not know how to begin. I do not know how to earn a closeness with you, God. I feel your presence at my heels or my feet allied with the earth. I hear your breath mix with mine as my mouth learns to form words and sing. But this conflict I see in man, this relentless gallop we find ourselves in, moving in the confines of a dry, lifeless corral. Somehow, my feet and mine have known all along the path that leads to your door. Somewhere, the hooves of wild happiness, groomed and at attention, have been ready all along to take us there. If only we would turn and see them in the open fields, and like ancient ribbons tied to a tail, follow.
Baba.
Well, Jay Baba, everyone, thanks for joining in. Always a pleasure to spend time with you and poetry. And if you have a few words you want to say about your new year, what you hope for the new year, what you've prayed for or asked for, or what your deepest heart desire is, it's so lovely to share that with a group of people.
I can't add to that. I'm to the point where I'm just going through every day. I just go through every day, and every day is the statement.
Mm.
And I don't have any, besides, normal things like I want to eat food that tastes good. I still have that attachment, food. But I just don't, what is there to want? So I can't add much to that.
Thank you.
I mean, Baba has so enriched us.
Yeah.
And I feel like the palm of his hand
Hmm.
is where I am all the time.
Hmm.
You know,
Wow.
when we were at the guest house last week with Tracy,
Oh, were you?
yes, we were housemates.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, quite lucky. And had a theme for a few discussions on connection.
Yeah.
And Tracy told this wonderful story, and I'll just tell the bottom line is her car battery had died, and she was given this message to clear off the connections.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get that, let's call it Maya, out of the way, you can connect. And for me, I think I need to stop the clutter, the distraction,
Oh,
so I
yeah.
can have the connection.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, the
Absolutely.
connection is there. Yeah, the connection is never missing. We just, what is it? It gets, needs to be cleaned, like you
Well,
said. It needs
Jeff
to be
says-
cleaned off, like the connections are on her battery.
Yeah.
You just have to clean it.
Yeah.
Jeff tells the story that on cloudy days, the sun is still there.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
precisely.
I think that's brilliant, Diane. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm really happy about that.
Mm.
Well, it takes our conversation to the next level for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you plan? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
We didn't
did
plan it.
not plan it.
It was just
Baba did.
spontaneous? Oh, what a hoot.
No, it was
We
not
all knew
spontaneous.
we all knew we were gonna be there, but we didn't know where
No.
necessarily.
Aha.
Tracy knew where we were staying. She
Okay.
was assigned another cabin,
Uh-huh.
and then she let it be known where she really wanted to be, and that's how it happened.
Yes, yes. You can always ask.
Right. But when,
I
but,
do.
but when I put my name in the lottery, I didn't know they were going to be there.
Right, that's true. And I called Tracy to say that we were going any chance that she could. She said, I already am.
Making fun of my Southern accent there, California girl.
You know, speaking of that, do you know that when we noticed that when you read poetry, there's no accent?
Accent.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
You know, after spending so many days together, you know, we know you a little better than we knew you just this way, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting because in a way we've taken you home with us. And I hope you took us home with you.
Hmm.
Hold on. I just want to pull it up.
Okay.
Make sure I don't forget it.
Okay.
Okay.
Jen, this one to you.
Give me a second.
Yeah. Take your time. Mhm.
My computer is slow. Okay. There's a homeboy named Merwan and he be a little whack from a kiss upside his head and dad a fact. Baba John done smooch him. It ain't no joke. He conk out, seem like he gon' croak. Merwan's mama asked Baba John, what you did? I want to know what up with my kid. Look like you done mess up his life. Fix him up now or I cut you with a knife. Baba John say, chill, I know he seem whack, but he on the plains and I got his back. Dog for months and months, he don't eat or sleep. He bang his head on the floor and he knock out his teeth. Then he meets some perfect masters and they open his eyes. They say, man, won't get your freak on. You're the highest of the high. He take the name of Meher Baba, mean compassionate pappy. Tell all his homies, don't worry, be happy. He give Georges to the poor and he wash a lot of feet, build a school, write some books, and give his peeps treats. One day he tell his homies, chill now, don't freak. But after tomorrow, I ain't going to speak. He writes some stuff on a board, then he just wave his hands. But Puff Daddy Erich, he understands. Baba meet a gal named Mara. He tell her, you my Rada. He find a loony named Mohammed who always call him Dada. Then come Snoop Doggy, Adi, Padre and Mani, Meru, Pendu, Rano and Nani. He work them and he teach them and he fill them with love. And those homies, they just give their old lives a shove. They're like hanging loose in that Merizad hood. His lovers come for Darshan and he make them feel good. One day he tell his homies, it's the new life, beg for Georges. And they say, that cool, because he just so gorgeous. He go to the West and meet some movie stars. Later on in Oklahoma, Baba crack up his car. He get a place in Myrtle Beach from Elizabeth's dad. Only $22 a night for a pad. Baba crash his car again and break up some bones. What up with this dude? He be accident prone. He get old, so tired and weak. One thing same, he still don't speak. One day he check out and his peeps be so sad. But they know he in their hearts. He always be their big dad.
Oh my gosh. That is hysterical.
Oh my gosh.
That is hysterical. That was so good. You have to do more of that. Wow.
I know. I like to do the comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're really good at
And
it.
I have to say, when you did it standing up with a little bit of it was the bomb, as the kids say.
Tina, I'm surprised you need to look at your notes because I've heard you do it so many times.
Yeah, no, I don't need to. I just wanted to make sure I got it since she was recording it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Unbelievable.
I know.
Wow.